like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
The worldwide BTS fandom has experienced countless emotional moments over the years, but nothing quite prepared them for the unexpected storm that erupted from a single, deceptively simple video featuring Jimin and Jungkook. Fans have always been sensitive to even the slightest interaction between the two, yet this time the response was different, deeper, louder, and undeniably universal. What began as an ordinary upload on BTS's internal content platform transformed almost instantly into one of the most discussed, rewatched, and emotionally charged clips in recent memory. The video itself did not look like a major production. It carried none of the polished perfection of official releases. Instead, it felt raw and almost intimate, as though someone had quietly opened a door and allowed viewers a glimpse into a private corner of their lives. Jimin and Jungkook were seated close together on a couch, dressed in comfortable clothing, surrounded by a warm atmosphere that looked nothing like a studio. Soft lighting fell across their faces, highlighting an ease that only comes from years of shared experiences and a bond that has weathered more storms than most people realize. At first, everything seemed lighthearted. They exchanged jokes in the effortless rhythm that comes from familiarity. Their laughter overlapped, their shoulders brushed casually, and there was a calmness in the room that made the clip feel like a quiet evening conversation between two people who know each other better than anyone else. But beneath the harmless banter, something unspoken was already lingering in the air, something waiting for the right moment to surface. That moment arrived when Jungkook paused, looked briefly at Jimin, and spoke with a softness that felt almost too sincere for a public video. His words were not grand or dramatic, but the weight behind them was unmistakable. "Staying in the same place with you feels natural," he said. "Some things don't need to change." For a heartbeat, the room seemed to still. Jimin blinked, his expression altering ever so slightly, as though he, too, recognized the significance of what Jungkook had just revealed, not to the camera, but to him. The fandom's reaction was instantaneous. In the span of minutes, timelines flooded with disbelief, excitement, and frantic analysis. Fans replayed the clip repeatedly, slowing it down to catch every micro-expression, every flicker in Jungkook's eyes, every subtle shift in Jimin's smile. Something about the moment struck a chord, not because it was dramatic, but because it was unexpectedly sincere. The simplicity of the words only highlighted how genuine the sentiment felt. Yet the emotional earthquake truly began when Jimin responded. His tone carried none of the teasing that usually colored their interactions. Instead, he spoke with warmth and an honesty that pierced straight through the screen. "We'll always be together," he said. "Same house, same place. You can't run away from me." The smile that accompanied the words wasn't mischievous or playful. It was tender. Jungkook laughed, but his eyes softened, and his body leaned even closer as though confirming, silently, that Jimin's words were not an exaggeration. What made the moment so powerful wasn't merely the content of their conversation, but the naturalness with which they said it. They were not making an announcement. They were not crafting a narrative. They were simply stating something that felt true to them, without hesitation, without pretense. And in that simplicity, millions of fans around the world felt their hearts swell. Within hours, major media outlets began reporting on the clip. Headlines framed it as one of the most intimate disclosures from BTS members in years. Analysts discussed how rare it is for celebrities of their stature to speak openly about personal living arrangements, especially ones that imply such deep-rooted closeness. Entertainment journalists speculated on the nature of their bond, while opinion writers reflected on how the statement represented a level of trust and emotional maturity rarely seen in the entertainment industry. Even without an official statement from HYBE, whispers began circulating through industry insiders. Staff members who had worked with the group for years subtly hinted that Jimin and Jungkook's bond extended far beyond professional responsibility. According to them, the two have long spent most of their free time together, preferring each other's presence whether they were practicing, relaxing, or simply existing quietly in the same room. The idea of them living together was not new, but the decision to speak it aloud, so casually and confidently, signaled a shift. It was no longer a coincidence or a convenience. It was a choice. Fans across social media reacted with an emotional intensity rarely seen. Many admitted they cried while watching the clip, describing the moment as unexpectedly intimate and profoundly heartwarming. Others compiled old footage showcasing their connection from the earliest trainee days, the nights spent practicing until dawn, the moments of comfort during difficult times, the unspoken support that became the backbone of their growth as artists and as people. Over a decade's worth of memories resurfaced to form a narrative that felt suddenly clearer than ever before. The situation escalated further when a behind-the-scenes clip surfaced only hours later. In it, Jimin lightly patted Jungkook's shoulder while laughing, remarking that Jungkook always made the house feel alive. Jungkook responded with a line that millions of fans replayed endlessly, "You make it feel like a real home." The words were quiet, but their meaning resonated louder than any official statement could. Discussions online evolved into deep reflections about the journey the two have taken together, from strangers brought together by chance, to trainees enduring the same hardships, to artists rising side by side to unprecedented global fame. Their shared living space became symbolic, not just a roof, but a sanctuary, a place where they could return after exhausting schedules, after victories and defeats, after days when the world felt too heavy. Fans recognized that their bond had survived pressures that would have torn most relationships apart. Communication experts joined the conversation as well, analyzing their body language and noting how their movements naturally aligned even in unscripted moments. They observed how Jimin and Jungkook often mirrored each other subconsciously, leaning in at the same time, laughing in unison, gravitating toward each other even in chaotic environments. The recent video, they suggested, was simply the verbal acknowledgement of a connection everyone had already sensed. As hashtags related to their statements trended globally for more than a day, fans expressed a wide range of emotions: joy for the closeness the two shared, nostalgia for the years of memories they had witnessed, admiration for the courage it took to speak so openly. Edits, essays, fan-made documentaries, and emotional reaction videos flooded the internet. The fandom was not simply excited, they were moved. Some skeptics attempted to temper the interpretations, but by then the moment had already etched itself into the collective memory of the fandom. What truly mattered was not whether the clip was a formal declaration, but how undeniably sincere it felt. For many, it symbolized growth, not only in Jimin and Jungkook as individuals but in the evolving dynamic of BTS members who have spent more than a decade building relationships that transcend the boundaries of work. When viewed through the lens of their history, the statements took on deeper meaning. They were not only talking about a house. They were talking about consistency, loyalty, and the rare comfort found in someone who has stayed by your side through every phase of life. Their promise to remain together, regardless of the future, echoed with a sense of devotion that words alone cannot fully describe. If their words are true, if they truly intend to continue sharing a home, then the decision reflects something more profound than living arrangements. It is a testament to the life they have built, the years of trust accumulated silently, and the unspoken understanding that home is not a place, but a person. And if the person you choose to come home to remains the same year after year, that is a story far more meaningful than any headline can capture. In the end, this moment is not just about where Jimin and Jungkook live. It is about what they mean to each other, about the comfort they provide, about two lives that have intertwined so closely that separating them feels unnatural. It is about returning to the same space, laughing in the same corners, sharing the same air after long days, and knowing that no matter how much the world changes, there is one constant waiting at home. And perhaps that is why the world reacted so deeply. Because beyond the fame, beyond the performances, beyond the lights and expectations, there are two people who have chosen to stay together. Not because they must, but because they want to. Not because circumstance demands it, but because their bond feels like a place where they belong. They are not simply sharing walls and rooms. They are sharing a life. A story still unfolding. A home built from trust, history, laughter, and quiet moments of understanding. A home built not from bricks, but from each other.